Hey y'all, it's Brandon Jarrett. Doing my presentation for Music 439, a differentiating course, because I'll be a new trier. Unfortunately, I won't get to listen to all your lovely presentations, but I'm going to do mine quickly because I already recorded it and it was too long. So I have to do this one a little bit quicker, just kind of pick up the pace. Um, so just in general, my philosophy and mission for band, as you can see here, is to provide a healthy and safe environment that encourages and challenges students to their fullest musical potentials. Basically, um, not trying to throw them into kind of a situation where they won't feel comfortable playing in the ensemble in terms of repertoire, maybe the repertoire we are playing, and just overall feeling comfortable playing their instruments and feeling like they're actually improving in the ensemble. And knowing specific, techniques or whatnot that'll help them improve some of their more technical skills and their fundamentals in chord, like intonation, rhythmic accuracy, note accuracy, etc., which will be talked about in this presentation right here. And the little second point here is giving all students the opportunity to succeed and participate in band ensembles regardless of their race, their gender, or exceptionalities, including um, being paralyzed or whatnot, or having dyslexia or ASD or whatnot. All students, if they are physically able to play an instrument, to sing, or any sort of activity that is musical, should be allowed in band programs. Um, and maybe if they can't play an instrument, then refer them to choir. But in general, all students, regardless of their um, mental capacities, mental cognition, and whatnot, should be able to be in band, in my opinion. So the first part is the vocalization for phrasing in pieces like Irish Tune and Prelude Siciliano Rondo. Um, so an Irish tune, obviously, it's very lyrical, very melodic, and basically a tune you could really sing along and have students hopefully sing in the hallways if they really like it that much, or sing it with their friends. It's kind of a stretch, but I guess that's the goal in general. So in terms of phrasing, some students may find it a little difficult to kind of understand the concept of phrasing. I find that most high schoolers in general uh, don't really understand the concept. Maybe they just kind of play the notes, because I feel like in high school I was more of like a note accuracy sort of student versus kind of like making music with the ensemble, regardless of being in tune or whatnot. Um, so really, uh, the best way to work on phrasing is to have students sing the piece. I mean, if they know the piece, they can sing the piece and maybe kind of direct them along, or even use color coding, which we'll talk about later in terms of phrasing. But if they can sing it the way you want them to play it, I bet you 100%, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, they'll be able to play it the way you want them to play it. Um, and in terms of note accuracy, this applies Irish tune, but we're going to go over here to Prelude Siciliano Rondo by Arnold. And the beginning basically goes dee da dum bum ba da dum be boom boom, and it incorporates kind of the major seconds, which obviously you can't hear my singing, but if you heard the piece, I believe, if I remember correctly, in the trombone section, they do have some major seconds. Um, so not only having them know what the notes are and be able to sing them, but also to play them. And that'll go with intonation, which will be discussed later. But just hitting the right notes and knowing what the notes are in terms of like singing them is crucial for basically any piece you do. These are just two examples. If you have your students sing their parts and sing as an ensemble, I bet you they'll sound great. Just kind of internalizing those pitches and knowing what they sound like, and just in general, building kind of their musical intuition, as you say, trusting what they're playing versus what they see, and this will help with students with dyslexia and maybe some cognitive issues, um, kind of more relying on their ears versus reading on the page, in terms of vocalization and actually knowing what the pieces sound like. The next one is again vocalization with rhythm or body percussion, and we're going to go towards this Hounds of Spring, which incorporates the lovely 6/8, 9/8, and then 3/4 time signature changes, which can be very challenging for actually most high school students. I believe this is like a grade, I think this is a grade 4 piece, so fairly difficult for high school bands. And then really digging into these different rhythms. They don't really have to sing it, but if they can say it and say the rhythms, I think that's the most beneficial. Because if you can see right here, basically it's unison, this rhythm, all the way down. I mean, maybe not like the tubas and bassoons, but just in general, all unison through the page, throughout the whole entire piece. If they're able to vocalize and say it, chances are they'll probably be able to sing it. And if you want to have some students do subdivisions, the 6/8, just like subdivide the eighth notes, or even the 3/4 more eighth notes, that'd be best. Even in the body percussion, just going. If some students aren't comfortable singing, they can do the body percussion. Again, great for students that have trouble reading these rhythms, knowing these rhythms, reading them off the page. A great sort of activity to really help them internalize the piece, also internalize the rhythms, and hopefully play the rhythms as accurately as possible. More singing seems to be the theme of this presentation. We're going to look at Frank Kelly's Wild Nights, which later in the piece has some big chords, lovely chords, that you could also like incorporate this singing for intonation. But for this case, we're going to look at the beginning. It goes beep ba ba bum, beep ba ba bum bum. Those big chords there we have, I believe, in the piccolos and the higher winds, they have a sustained D right here. So maybe have them drone it, while the brass down here, the trumpets and low brass, play their, well, first of all, have them play it first and then sing it, and then have them play it back, and usually that'll help with intonation. And again, just opening up their ears, developing the fundamentals in terms of aural skills, knowing what these chords sound like accurately. Have a piano at the front too, when you're like playing whatnot. Make sure you get accurate pitches, and overall that'll help their intonation right there. At least improve it, and then kind of build upon that so they actually know what a lovely in-tune chord sounds like. So I find that most bands, their biggest problem is knowing what a in-tune chord sounds like a full major chord, minor chord, so on and so forth, dominant chord, because that really makes a difference with some bands in terms of intonation. So again, looking at Irish tune, basically diatonic folk tune, and you have tons of dominants, tonics, predominants, whatnot, mostly all major. You have your major one right here, you have the F major chord there. If they can sing it, chances are they can play it in tune. And if they can't sing it in tune, that's where you can start refining those fundamentals and working the aural skills. And I know most students aren't so keen on singing in band, but sometimes you have to step out of our comfort zones and start to learn these basic skills, because I would find that most students like to sing and they just don't admit it. And another one, in terms of color coding, is another great strategy for some of these students. This is more for students with dyslexia, assigning different colors, obviously the different notes. Mother Earth may not be the best example, but in terms of tempo, it's very quick. It's in 1, so these measures are just flying by. And maybe starting out slower. Maybe some students aren't so familiar with some of the pitches or whatnot, and this just applies any piece in general. We'll just use Mother Earth as the example. And then having this like little diet, those things are flying by. And if they don't know the pitches right away when you're starting off, sometimes color coding really makes a difference, especially with students with kind of visual cognitive issues here, which seems to be kind of the theme here, but I'm not trying to just talk about them, just kids in general. And this can go with ledger lines. It's a great sort of activity for piccolo players or whatnot. Make sure that they're playing the correct notes. Even though they play the right note, sometimes it's a heck of a out of tune, but ensuring that they're playing accurate notes, which goes back to kind of the note accuracy that we just discussed. Um, and then the last one I believe here is the text and melody. Um, it's a very interesting correlation here with the Danny Boy with the Irish tune from County Derry, that they actually share the same melody, more or less. Obviously, this one is a little bit more syllabic here. Basically, each syllable is assigned a pitch there, versus the Irish tune from County Derry, which is no text, obviously, and just ignore the bassoons. It's just the melody. It's for melodic purposes, and each note is basically the melody, kind of leading in with each phrase. And maybe having kids sing Danny Boy. It's a very fairly simple tune. Maybe doing a correlation between the two, after maybe they played it a couple times. Again, this is great for reading or learning things orally, for students, and it's all universally designed. I find most students would all play it accurately if they heard it first and then played it, which kind of seems to be the big theme with this PowerPoint, is using your good oral skills to increase your musicianship and become just better musicians in general. And again, this would help probably kids with cognitive disabilities and dyslexia in general. So just to wrap up, all the techniques I've talked about are not only great for students with exceptionalities, but also great just in general as just developing healthy fundamentals within your band program, and really just increasing the quality of the group, quality of the students, because as they all say, it's always for the students, not for yourself and not for the music. I would say it's students, music, then yourself in terms of the hierarchy of importance. So building up the fundamentals, I find, will keep more students in the band program, hopefully kind of, propel, excel to greater and bigger things. And again, students with or without exceptionalities to reap the benefits, and overall musicality and the quality of the ensemble will hopefully rise and get better and better with each passing year, and just kind of excel. And again, it all goes down to the fundamentals. So thanks for listening and watching. Good luck to everyone on finals, and I hope everyone had a lovely day of presenting, and I hope you all the best. Wish you all the best.